everybody. I finally decided what to do on my second video. I dare you guys to watch it because it's a really good information that you guys could take from it. You can share it to your friends, you can share it to your family. It is something that I wish I've known years and years ago. That way I could have prevented my current deformity, which I'm most aware it is related to genes, but it is totally enhanced by wrong choices of footwear. Today, we're going to be learning about choosing the proper footwear. How do we know if the shoes that we're wearing is providing us the protection or the support that we needed when our feet are in their most active? We have to understand that repetitive stress to our joint or to our foot could give rise to pain. It makes us develop injury, or it makes us develop a deformity. And the key is prevention. Wearing the proper footwear could help us prevent from this problem. My first cue is do not buy your shoes online. I personally doesn't suggest buying shoes online. It's because I thought buying shoes involves at least two senses. You have to be able to see it, you have to be able to feel, try it first before paying for that pair of shoes. You have to be able to know what type of foot or fit you have. To do this, you can step on a cardboard with a wet foot and then take it off and observe the footprint. Some shoe store also offers a scanner, so they can go there and scan your feet and see the footprint that may occur like this. The right far end here is high arch, and so with this one over here. See my finger here. That means that you're high arch. If you look at here, there's no even, the black spot here is where your weight are bearing, okay? So there's no even weight bearing on this one, on this side. So that means that your arch is not really collapsing when your feet are all in the ground. And so with this one, there's a little bit, but it's still very stiff. Over here is neutral. This is normal. It could be a little bit beyond the midline, and it's still, I find that it's neutral. But then if you look at this one, the flat foot over here, flat foot is beyond the midline. And worse comes to worse, this flat foot becomes overpronation because that line, it could come over that line. That's really bad deformity. Let me just quickly show you the angle of your foot if you have deformity. If you look at the neutral one where my finger is, it is a straight line, okay? But if you have the flat foot or the high arch, your foot is angled abnormally, okay? So imagine that if your foot is angled abnormally, it does affect the posture of your knee. It goes up to your hip, it goes up to your back, and then that's when you develop lots of joint pain. This shoe here have all the qualities of a good supportive shoe. First of all, it is closed. It has a good firm casing at the heel. Compared to this, when you squeeze, it collapses. That means that when your heel lands on the ground initially, there's a lot of impact. This kind of casing will hold your foot in place, so it's mainly for stability. If you look at the shape of your shoes, it goes like this on the front. That allows the force in your feet travel naturally until it takes off the ground. If you look at the upper support over here, it has to be soft and flexible to accommodate the shape of your foot. And also make sure that the ball of your foot fit comfortably on the widest part of your shoe, which is this one. And don't buy something that is tight and thinking that it will stretch later on, because you might have pain or injury before that happens. The size of your shoe, make sure that there is at least 1/2 inch between the tallest part of your toe and the end of your shoe. So at least you can put your thumb in between them, on the space between them, like this. And if you look at around the ankles and the heel, there's a really nice cushioning. And you have to observe that the sliding up and down of the heel when you're walking or when you're active on your shoe is very minimal, because if that comes frequently, that means also that in your gait cycle, there's a lot of moments that your foot is not supported. And one of the things that I really watch is the flexibility. Make sure that it bends where your toes are bending, because that's the natural flexibility of our foot. And while it holds it, it doesn't bend in the middle, it doesn't twist as much, because it's hold us when where it's supposed to hold or support the foot. So there, it has to bend where your toes are bending. And because I'm flat-footed, I make sure that the medial midsole and the outer sole are firm and dense enough in order to prevent my foot from rolling in. Because when you're flat-footed, there's a tendency for your foot to roll in. So that dense quality there prevents my foot from overpronation. And for people who has a high arch, it's gonna be the opposite. So with the high arch, this is gonna be a more cushiony. And this area in the middle part is more cushiony, because high arch individual has a stiff or tight arch. So if this is cushiony, it will allow that arch to collapse, so that it distribute the weight better on around the shoes. So, and you will see that in my shoes here, this one is less stiff or less dense, because it's allowing the weight to go on this part, while it's restricting the overpronation or the rolling in of the foot. And again, on a high arch individual, that will be opposite. These sandals here, it is something that I would wear at home when I'm just for a short period of time. It's very convenient when I'm supervising my kids playing at the trampoline, or when I'm supervising them riding their bike. It's something that I can slip on and off and attend them quickly. I like it because it gives a give on my toes, so it makes my toes move freely. At the same time, it gives me some arch support, though it's not enough arch support for the type of foot that I have, but at least it gives me a little support in some way. So this is not Birkenstock. I cannot say much about the Birkenstock. The only experience that I have with that is at some point I did ask an individual not to wear that kind of slippers or sandals, because I know that she is very comfortable because it has an arch support, but it was very stiff over here. And those are, as I've said, I never owned the Birkenstock. The only experience is this time that she bought a Birkenstock sandals, and it's pretty new, so it's very stiff. After not wearing it for 2 weeks, her pain subsided. So I thought for sure that the mobility restriction gave rise to her pain. This shoe here is great. A lot of teenagers are wearing this. This is something that I will never wear for myself. Probably when you put your foot in there, it's very comfortable, but as soon as you move, it's very restricted. There's no flexibility at all. It's not giving. You bend it here, it doesn't make your feet or toes bend at all. It's like a prisoner in a box. Some repetitive tension between your joints will give rise to pain, will give rise to inflammation. It gets irritated, most especially to the big toe and the joint between the big toe and the foot. Eventually it becomes the soft tissue there deteriorate, and the muscles get weakened, and that's why you develop the so-called bunion, which is very painful. At the same time, it's so hard, or it's so difficult to find a good fitting shoe for that matter. So again, prevention is the key. Some of you might be wondering why I have a cushioned shoe when I have very unstable foot. I wear an orthotic, so when I put that in here, it makes it more stable. So it only bends where my toes is bending. It doesn't twist as much and it doesn't curl like that. But I'm still aware that the upper part is not well supported. The cushioning here is not enough to provide me support. So I only use this casually. This is something that I would wear when I'm traveling by plane, or when I know that I'm not on my foot all day, that I'm sitting most of the time. I wear this kind of shoes. And yes, this is something that I bought online. That's why I'm saying don't buy your shoes online, because you really need to see and feel how much support you have into that before buying that shoes. Going back to the high arch individual, we understand that high arch individual have tight foot arch. So some experts recommend this kind of shoe to them because it allows flexibility for the tight arch. But for me, I would still choose the stability shoe. I probably consider to get more cushioning on the middle part here to allow my arch to collapse when I put my weight on it. But the most thing that I would do is take the insole that came with the shoes and discard that, change it to an insole that is fitted for high arch individual, which you can find over the market. Or you just have to find the insole that is more supportive for you. Some they're not as expensive as orthotics, so that's why I'm saying that there are arch support there that you could use. You don't have to go through orthotic if that's something that you're not able to afford to do so. Otherwise, a good fitted orthotic, or maybe a quality orthotic, because some orthotic are not as quality as the others, so make sure you are wise also in getting your foot orthotic. That would help a lot for you. It's the same way with the flat-footed individual. There are arch support there that would fit you comfortably or fit you properly, that will give you a good support. So you can also find that in the market. Just make sure you choose the right one for you. Saying that, I have some arch support insole that I use for my other shoes, and then I have my orthotic that I use. Sometimes I modify it, but don't do that. Don't try to modify if you don't understand the movement of your foot. You will know when your shoes is about time to dispose when you see those wear and tear around the cushioning. You'll see on the upper support here, your toes is almost poking out, and there's a wear and tear on here on the end of the tip of your shoe. You will also notice that it's not supporting anymore in the middle part or on this side, because it's overstretched. And I'm okay with the outer sole, even if that's worn out. If it's still okay, I still use it with the outer sole. But when you see the midsole that is already showing, that means that your midsole is already overused, so it's disposed that shoe. I know it's probably still comfortable if you're still liking to use it, but again, it's not. You're prone to injury. Another one you could see is over here, when the midsole is already compressed and overused, you'll see there's creases on this part here of the sole, and so with the other side here. In some instances, which I actually noticed this, when I still like my shoes, I don't see any problem about wear and tear, but it already stretched so much that it's not giving me the support that I used to get. What I do is I wash my shoes with warm water and soap, and then dry it, not directly under the sun. In the winter, I make sure that I drain the water overnight, and then put my shoes above the register where the heater is blowing, and let it dry there. But in the summer, I let it dry outside, but not under the sun, not directly under the sun. and then you'll notice some restoration, that it feels better, it's supporting better. So understanding your heel to toe drop. Heel to toe drop is the height difference between the heel and the toes. If you look at here, it is higher, and then as it goes down, it's lower. That's the drop difference. And this shoes is only 6 millimeter. If I'm running, I would like to get something that is 12 millimeter or 10 millimeter. This one is only 6 millimeter. So, and some will become zero too. So there is, if you ever heard about the zero drop, there is no difference. So my suggestion is for those of you who work 8 hours on their feet, for example, nurses, I do this one, I do this. You change your shoes in between. So I have a couple of choices of shoes. So maybe one shoe will be a 10 millimeter drop, and the other one is 6 millimeter drop, and you could have a third one which is zero. But again, you have these qualities, the protective qualities of the shoe. And at work, if you get a chance, which most people doesn't have a chance to changing it, but on your break, change your shoes. It gives you some relief, because as I've said, repetitive movement, being on your foot all day with the same group of tissue activated, that puts a lot of stress on those tissue. But if you change your shoes in between, it gives it some relief at some point. So try that if it works for you, because for me it does work. I change my shoes. I even go to zero. I even go to zero in between. If I'm on my foot all day, I have three shoes choices. If I get a chance to change it, I'll change it, so long as it's not against the work ethics. Anyways, but yes, that's my suggestion for you. I think I covered most of the information that I wanted to relay. I hope you guys understood what I'm trying to say here and apply it to yourself. Let me know, comment below if you have any question, and I can try to answer as much as I could. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening.